Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with another painting tutorial. As you know, in the last couple of weeks I have been adding random Space Marine chapters and Chaos Legions to like a generic playlist. These videos have been going down a treat. You guys absolutely love them. And I intend to bring you a lot more of them in the future. But something that struck me as maybe a good idea to do is some of the more generic pieces that most Space Marine armies can take. So I'm going to start off that series here today with the Techmarine. I will also do, of course, a librarian and a chaplain and an apothecary for this series. I just think it's probably a very useful series of videos to add to that collection. So stick around and learn how to paint a Primaris Techmarine. Enjoy the video, guys. Okay, so this is the Primaris Techmarine in question. I got the miniature all built up, and then I gave it my normal Chaos Black with the zenithal spray of Grey Seer, all rattle can. And then we're going to start off with that traditional red armor. So I'm going to use Blood Angel's red contrast and apply this to all of the flat armor panels of this miniature. There is a lot of bionics on this guy, one of his entire hands from like a forearm up. Metallic, so obviously don't want that to be done in the reds. And there's lots of like cabling and other bits and pieces. So just pay attention. If you have the box in front of you that you got him in, that's awesome. Use that. If not, go to the website, Games Workshop website, look up the Primaris Techmarine and then look at the 360 so you can rotate the miniature around and see what parts of him are supposed to be red and what parts are not. You also have the option of giving him an unhelmeted head, so he's got a bionic face. Obviously I won't be covering that in this video as I didn't glue that piece on. I like the helmet. So I'm just going to slowly go around and apply the red contrast to all the armor. Now this particular Space Marine has lots of segmented plates on his armor, so the contrast flows really easily. You don't have to do any tricks with it or anything like that to get a nice smooth coat across the entire thing. There are no really big flat panels. I suppose the biggest flattest panel would be his left shoulder pad, his left, not our left. But that's the kind of chapter shoulder pad. So whatever chapter of Space Marines you want your Techmarine to be a part of, that's the color you're going to paint your chapter in there and give it your chapter symbol. Funnily enough, at the beginning of painting this model, so at the start of making this video, I was unsure as to what chapter he was going into. I had an idea of which one of my Space Marine chapters he was going into, but I actually changed my mind at the end, so you'll be surprised by what he is at the end. So with the red applied to the entire miniature, actually looks pretty good. We're going to move over to Black Templar and apply that to all the parts that need to be black. So that will be the soft seals in between the armor plates, all the cabling. I even went for his kind of bionic cable coming up underneath his right arm there. And then a lot of his cog axe is going to get black too. I'm not going to add in a weird extra color for the kind of leather wrappings of his axe. I just went for plain black. And then the casing of his bolter up over his right shoulder will also go that nice black color. This is a quick and easy step, like applying most base coats with contrast are. We will be doing some layering afterwards, so don't worry too much about that. So with all the black parts applied, we're going to go to Leadbelcher. There is a couple of cables and pipes you need to do with Leadbelcher, but it's majority the rest of the axe, the rest of the bolter, and the rest of the bionic arm that we need to hit with the silver. I don't know what it is, but I do thoroughly enjoy getting base coats on a miniature, starting to kind of like separate all the different parts to what color they're going to be. The model just has this like flipping point where you kind of stop applying one color, kind of pull it back a little bit, look at the model, and you can finally see what it's going to look like. For me, I think it was mostly when the silver was applied on this model. Once all the kind of black, red, and silver was in the right places, I could see what the model is going to look like in my head at the end, and I started to get excited about it. From here, we're going to throw in a very small amount of Retributor Armour Gold on some of the details. So the cog axe has a couple of details, piece of trim going down the flat side of the blade, some cog symbols, and then there's some rings going down. There's also another bit or two. I gave his cog symbol and his right shoulder padding gold as well. You can decide to do it in gold or the halved black and white kind of mechanicum symbol. I'm going to do that across his chest later on, but I don't actually cover it in the video. It's just a very quick and easy thing. Halved black and white symbol. So with all of the gold applied, brings base coats to a close, so it's time to wash the miniature. For this, we're going to use the new Nuln Oil and apply this all over the entire miniature. Very quick and easy step. And it will just shade down everything beautifully. While the shade is drying, I'm going to do my normal basing scheme, which for this guy is going to be the Martian Iron Crust, the Martian scheme. He is also walking down the hull of a broken tank. I just blacked out that tank because I'm still not sure as to what color I'm going to paint that tank. Part of me thinks it's going to end up like an Iron Warriors tank to match in with my regular opponent, Mr. Chin. But we're still not 100% sure. It may yet be something else. But yeah, just make sure you get a nice smooth coat of Nuln Oil across the entire model. Try not to have it pool anywhere, so keep kind of checking on it as you're applying it, and maybe a couple of minutes after you've finished applying it, make sure it's not pooled anywhere. So with that dried and the basic scheme done, we are at this stage. And frankly, I think right now he looks actually really good. And if you're in a real rush and just want to get models painted really fast, this is a really cool standard to leave them to. I can't see anybody being too upset about a model looking like that on the table. But I'm going to take this a step further. So we're going to go with layering the armor. We're going to start with Mephiston Red. You'll notice the pot that I showed is Mephiston Red Air. I just like working with some of the air paints in place of normal paints. They're basically like pre-thinned paints. And paints that have really strong pigment like reds, they work an absolute treat straight out of the bottle. So this is Mephiston Red Air straight out of the bottle. And then when this is dry, I'm going to jump up to Sunz Scarlet. Same thing, the air version, and layer up the armor. You do not need to run out and grab the air versions of the paint if you're following along with this. If you have the normal versions, they will work just fine. This just saves me a little bit of like thinning down. They flow a little bit better. I don't use the air paints for an awful lot of colors, so don't be worrying about that. You can see here how quick and easy they are running off my brush. Another tip is to always rotate the model around your brush and not your brush around the model. You want your hand with your paintbrush in it to be the most comfortable so you can get those nice neat layer lines. As you see him going around the curve there, not trying to fill in that black, that's the shading, we want that there. And if you'll notice, my brush is only ever really being pulled in one direction, which makes it extremely easy to keep it neat and tidy. Me applying obviously another coat on some of the flatter areas to give it a kind of a stronger tone. Okay, and that is the Mephiston Red Air applied to the model. Looking great, but I think we can punch it up just a little bit higher. So this is where we are going to move over to the Sunz Scarlet. Once again, the air version. And then we're just going to layer the model up again. This is going to be a really quick layer job. We're not trying to get the same amount of coverage that we got in the Mephiston Red. It's just supposed to act as like a highlight on the big flat panels. We're going to leave the Mephiston Red in some of the smaller parts, and anywhere that's like underneath, anywhere where the sun, if it was above, shining down, isn't going to get to. Anywhere it's going to cast a shadow, that's where we want to leave the darker red. So you can see when I start highlighting like his forearm or any bit like that, it's very much just the top of it. Once again, this is a stage where you want to take your time. This is basically a character model in your army, even though it's not really a character. It's one of those kind of pieces that if someone comes over to your table looking at your army and you've got a Techmarine field, they don't see them on the table all that often, so they might want to stop and check them out. Which means they'll pay attention to them more, which means if you want your army to stand out, maybe spend a little bit more time. So taking the extra minute or two here to be as neat as possible with these red will mean that all those lines in between all the panels being super crisp and sharp will really help the final look of the model. Maybe get you a few more painting points if you're at a tournament. This is what I mean about the top parts. Obviously, I'm only doing the bits that are pointed up. I'm not rotating the model around and painting underneath the arm. That's not necessary. It's just the top parts. Fingers. You actually have the option to give him a pistol in this hand as well. So if you choose to do that, you'll follow the same rules for painting the bolt gun on his back. Black casing, silver gun. Very quick and easy to do. None of your crazy fancy stuff. Obviously applying the Evil Sunz Scarlet is quite fast, but you do have to stop and kind of take in the entire miniature, and that's where you're going to learn where those highlights are supposed to go. And that is the model with the Evil Sunz Scarlet applied. Now it's time to go over to Corvus Black and layer up just those black parts of the miniatures. So the energy casing on the cog axe, some of the other parts of the cog axe, and the casing of the bolt gun, as well as some of the cabling along his chest and coming around the side of his body. Once again, this is just a really quick highlight. Because the Corvus Black has that touch of grey to it, it highlights the black really, really well. Trying to figure out now what the next one in this kind of mini series within a series is. Obviously, it's just part of my generic Space Marine line. But I have, like I said, I've got Librarian, Apothecary, and Chaplain to do next. Which one do you guys think I should do next? Put it in the comments below and help me out. Ironbreaker was used to highlight all the metallic bits. And if you'll notice, in between this step and the last step, I did actually end up doing the cog symbol on his chest, which is just the cog is split half black and white, and the skull in the middle of the cog is split half black and white the opposite way. Kind of like a yin and yang style thing. While I was doing that, I took the time to fill in his eye lenses with pure white as well. Just because I'm going to throw a contrast over them to give him the glow I need. Just a really quick and easy step. The silver I used to highlight all the metallics I did on the silver and the gold. A few scratchy highlights on the gold. And a normal layer job on all the silver parts. Means the metallics will pop. Also, I'm not going to film kind of what chapter he's going to go to. I'm going to decide to add this guy into my Black Templars. So before I do the final reveal, I'm going to go away and paint his knee pad, his shoulder pad in the kind of cream color I did with the Black Templars, and add the appropriate symbols, which gives me this as my final result. My Primaris Techmarine ready to serve alongside my Black Templars army. Quite happy with the final result. Added them to the shelf and feeling pretty good. I hope you guys like them as well. Okay guys, and there we have it. One Primaris Techmarine ready to take to the field. As you can see in the last few steps, I decided to have mine as an addition to my Black Templars army, as I have big plans to expand them in the new year. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you liked it, make sure you give the video a like. If you have any questions about anything that I did in this video, ask in the comments below and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. And if you want to support my channel, the two best ways you can do that is, one, make sure that you're subscribed. It takes 2 seconds for you to hit that button. And two, if you want to help me make bigger and crazier videos, the best way for you to do that is to join my Patreon. Links to all that below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.